that part. Some of it's really intuitive.
No, it's hard, I know, because it's a full.
That's what I'm hoping.
So
It'll just be intuitive and I can just
I may
sink
have
into
to
it.
ask you
Yeah,
to move it,
it's,
okay, because we have a couple of people that.
Yeah, most of this is
No,
basic.
totally, thank you so much, you've been awesome.
It's gonna add, subtract, divide, multiply, that's the basic math, and you'll be fine. Yeah, this is the basic math. And some of it's not so much
Sure, okay.
more than basic math, it's a little bit out of
I'm
it.
going to email it to you.
And so there's major sequences. There's not a ton, but they all put together like a lot. And I just don't understand how that
So, Giselle,
Yes, sir.
so people may get cold, but do we have it on 70? I'd like to keep it on 70 if we can, please.
It is.
Because I'm going to overheat.
Okay.
Okay, I'm looking for something for Lisa.
I don't,
Everybody, relax.
Read a book.
This is going to be like a cruise ship. It's going to be a while, but I'm pretty quick. I'm looking for downloads. Why isn't I finding downloads? It should be so easy. How did the camera work out, Standing Bear and Brian?
It's good. What's on?
The camera actually works?
I think so.
And how much record time do we have on it?
We should have a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
Full battery?
Yeah, it's plugged in.
I do have some power supplies, USB-C, if you need them.
It's all good.
Okay. Okay, I am now in downloads. Lisa says to send this to her. Okay. Probably don't need blue, but why not? Oh, here it is. This is what I
Marko, would
want.
you like the overhead light on or off?
You can unscrew just those two bolts.
I think we can leave them on.
Okay.
Oh, and yeah, would you unscrew those two? That would be very helpful. That's a very good suggestion.
Do you have your
Best
glove,
of both
Brian?
worlds.
Do you have your glove with you, or is it down in the car? I'll just get a blanket or a shirt. Here, give me your shirt. Wait, you already have it on.
Here, Gabby. Gabby.
Thank you. I just want to drop the bowl on his head.
It's okay. Happens to the best of them.
Hold on, no, this bulb has a.
Yeah, probably just leave it.
Yeah, this one I can pull out, but that one I can't.
I have lots of bulbs if you break them.
No, it's good.
Okay, here comes Lisa. I go to my email. Compose. Better refresh it. Doesn't look happy. Now compose. It's because I got airplane mode on. Turn off airplane mode. Okay. Reload. Close. Do it. Attach.
We can try and figure that out.
I think so much now.
Are you getting a glare on the monitor with that light, Brian? Or
We're obviously work kitchen.
Yeah, that's my
fine.
big enemy is the glare.
It's not too bad.
okay, if you need me to, I can
Yeah.
pull that out, but it's going to take more than
It's
just.
just a little bit. It's not too bad.
Let me know.
Yeah.
Looks like I got it. I'm missing an artboard.
I'm blessed.
This is 16,
Nice to meet you.
143. I better hit
Good name.
send.
Thank you.
Not worry about it.
Yes.
Okay, it's sending. Where's 163? Do it again. One. Two. So this board behind me is brand new. Brian, unfortunately, does everything. He's supposed to be filming, but Brian, if I have any trouble, will you come up and help me with getting some screenshots so that I can annotate over the images? okay?
Yeah, Hunter's got it down.
Because I have not
Yeah.
really rehearsed or used these boards, even though I own them, and stare at them all day. Okay, one more thing for you, Lisa. Did you get that email? No, it's still sending.
There's a dead zone in here, I noticed. It's kind
There's
of
a dead zone right here.
Yeah.
Are you connected to the Wi-Fi?
I'm not on the Wi-Fi,
Am I not?
but I'm gonna. Whenever she gets it, she gets it. I have one more attachment, and I won't worry. Sooner or later, it'll arrive. Attach. Screen. 1, 2, 3. She had these anyway. I think these are higher resolution. That's why I'm sending them to you, Lisa. Gonna
What are
put a
they?
couple 9s.
What are they?
The first thing I sent you was a standard quad rolled sheet of paper, squares.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing I sent you was a rotated 90-degree quad rolled piece of paper turned into diamonds. Okay, I've sent. We're rolling. All I want to do now is look for a pen. I'll leave my phone right here for a minute. This is a new pen. I'd rather use a new pen. Okay,
So I'm trying to get this close.
Gabby,
Yeah.
your job is to open this up and to give everybody a crystal, including me. I would like them to. And everybody,
Caught me off guard there, man.
caught you off guard.
Like a full-on embrace from behind.
And then I'd
Not
like
expecting
to,
it.
here's the pen, what I'd like to is for you to keep those prisms as a keepsake, as a remembrance of our talk, of the moment that we shared. I don't think I need any of this, but yeah, I'm just not going to worry about it. I think I'll stop here. So, today is the 20th of May, and 2026. We're in Sedona at the Patrick Flanagan Library. Our hostess is Giselle. Thank you, Giselle.
You're welcome. Thank you, Patrick.
I have a pen. I really don't need the speaker, but if I do, I know where to get it. It's off. Who wants to help me lift up that left corner so I don't trip and stub my toe on that a million times? Because I will. This right here, please. Okay.
I've done this a few times already today.
Yeah. Here goes. And down. Thank you. And it's locked. Turn this one around. I do have stands that are for conventions that are flat and they don't have legs. They go straight down and it's a plate. And they're really nice, but they cost about $1,200, $1,500 each. So that's why. If I'd like to do one more thing, please. I want to pull the rug so I'm not standing, so I can have it underneath the wheels, about a foot underneath.
Underneath the wheel?
Yeah. More. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, there's something about that.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. Perfect. Thanks.
Okay. So this we have Brian helping with the camera. We have Giselle, our hostess, Gabby helping me with the crystals, and Lisa helping me with the multimedia. This is a long talk. It's supposed to end at 6. Of course, I understand if it can be tedious, so if you have to leave, I'm sympathetic, I understand. Lisa has gone to some trouble to do a presentation, and I'm going to try and not deviate from it. It's very hard to get it right. So there's going to be redundancy. And the purpose of the redundancy is to make sure that that no matter what, it's understood that we approach the same thing from all different approaches. Okay, to do a sample, which is the most challenging thing, is even though I don't want to do it, use this for that. Can I have a screen capture and see if I can annotate over this, please? How will I do that? Grab the screen. What would I do?
Over to that arrow on the right-hand side of the screen.
Wait.
Yep,
Here.
yep.
Then I do capture. Then I size it.
Well, you don't have to size it. If you look down below, it'll let you, if you want to do the
Full?
whole screen. Yes.
See
full.
that this is a modern whiteboard. It's like
I have Hunter to thank for that.
really.
He bailed me out earlier.
Huh.
Question, can I move this so it's not right next to my head?
Just
Oh.
a memory of
Thank
today's.
you.
I think I'm done with. Well, let's see if it's sent. I'll put it in
I
airplane
have
mode.
everything, 2 emails.
Huh? You got 2 emails?
I do.
Want to pass those back?
Okay. Okay. So, I have books, I have a little props, and I have a screen that I just captured. So let's see. Hunter had mentioned it's not capturing.
Gotta save it.
Huh?
Click save,
At the bottom, there's a button save.
and then on your.
Save. The current content has copyright.
Oh, there it is.
I didn't
There
copyright
is
it.
a mark button when you click.
There is a mark button too.
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
go to the right hand side and you click your arrow again.
So
How about freedom? No.
Will that change the
X,
slide
X
though?
out of that, Marko. You
Huh?
don't need that. X out. X out of that. You don't need that.
You can
X,
look at
click
X
on the
out,
thing. I'll
and
look
then-
up
There you go,
on
to the
hit
right.
Mark right there. Mark.
Mark. Yep.
Mark.
There we go. Should work.
Looks like it's working.
Yeah.
Boy, that was easy. Okay. So I do not copyright this discovery. I don't patent it. And the reason I don't is because I believe it's a disruptive technology. I believe it's a game changer. And so I've never had a threat in my life. I never had a problem. Of course, there was somebody drunk once that called me a lot of things, but he called me everything in the book. But that's not, doesn't count. So I've never had problems with the government. In fact, the government's been very supportive of what I do. In '88, some of you weren't born then, I spoke at Airspace America under Power and Propulsion Systems, the biggest U.S. aerospace convention in U.S. history. And what they said was I had the most revolutionary propulsion system ever created for outer space. I literally started at the highest position I could start under Power and Propulsion, and I've been going down ever since. So, reason they selected me is, so we'll see if this draws. So here's the hourglass. This is called toroidal pinch, okay, in fusion. Everybody has different names for it. Tell me if I missed one that you know. It's also called what, Z-pinch, I think? Toroidal pinch is for toroidal fields because a standard motor, which runs lawnmowers, cars, everything, creates a toroidal field. But this, and I'm going to only be brief explaining that. I'm going to stick to the slides with her as best I can to begin. But I don't make toroidal fields. That's what's unique about the Rodin coil. I make poloidal, P-O-L-O-I-D-A-L. You can look it up under Google, go to images, you'll see it's used for fusion reactors, okay? So this pinch point, I believe there's an inversion. All the illustrations you're going to see are not showing that because because it would take too long to go over some of the animations I do have of it, and it's not going to help because nobody gets it right, and this has all been done without a budget. Everybody here is uncompensated. In fact, they've suffered a lot and sacrificed a lot to make this happen, including myself. So this is a nozzle, is another thing you could call toroidal pinch. Z-pinch, what are some other names for it? I call it the primal point of unity. I took that out of the Baha'i scriptures. I'm not convinced or absolutely sure that that's what the Bab or Baha'u'llah, who I'll be telling you who that is later on, it was referring to as the primal point of unity, but I liked it and that's how I'm referring to it. It's a capital P. It's a very sacred, holy phrase in the scriptures. Okay, so hopefully we'll have images to go over these as we talk. I'm saying that this is a nozzle, two Z's, I think, right? Can't remember. This is the Baha'i falcon. It's talked about in the Baha'i scriptures. Brian's wearing a t-shirt. Throw one of them at me. This is the falcon right here. The Cyrus, what's Cyrus's phone number? Cyrus prints them up. He sells them for 28 plus shipping. How I did this shirt was I used the symbol of infinity for the wings. This nozzle in this symbol right there, which is here, you can see it right here. Okay, see that point right there? That's where the big hexagonal crystal is, right there. That's the nozzle. Do you have Cyrus's number? This is the wings, and you see this right here? This would be a flux field, and it's an empty, you never put a winding there, copper, you leave it alone, you don't put a conductor. It's a higher dimensional flux field. 3 and 6 are here, the 9's here. That's why there's a hole, it's an opening, and the purpose of this workshop is to explain the mystery of the higher dimensional flux field, of the higher dimensions. It is the very basis of all quantum field theory, I believe. But I do it in a unique way. I come out of the side door, I come from right field, I do it with numbers. So again, one part is a field, and the other part is a coil. That was discovered by Scott Gosler, but we'll cover that later. So if anybody wants to order a shirt from Cyrus, 28 plus shipping, I thank him for printing these for me. This is the logo for the Baha'i Faith that I designed. Special Materials Reviewing Committee approved my designs. I also did the hidden words, printed it as a calligraphic scroll. Okay, so what's Cyrus's number? And this is trademarked, this design, because it's an art form.
510
510
290
290
4815.
4815. But my feelings will not be hurt if you do not order one. Okay. Throw it back right at you. Okay. So this was done by Brad Maxey. Although it's not necessary in this little, he did a great work. He's showing those, that's where tangentially, perpendicular to the skin of the torus, is an emanation that's traveling in a straight line. It's irresistible, penetrates everything. This is showing a side view of that torus, showing the funnel, but there's an inverting there. This is a Baha'i temple. This is that funny, I call it God's light cone, that VW symbol. Again, where am I getting the numbers from? 3, 6, and 9. It's not 369, that's a family number group. I'll be explaining that later. So you're helping me by being patient with me, letting me explain the math, because the math may not have that mean that much to you or be that big of a deal. But the level of civilizations that are more advanced in this math, and this math changes all conventional mathematics, no matter what the field is, algebra, calculus. The reason it does, but I'll have letters there from the director of advanced operating systems from Microsoft stating that the reason it does is because I was able to combine arithmetic, which is what I'm doing right here. So here's a 1, there's a 2, but the 2 doesn't go to 3. See how I went 1 to 2, and then it goes over here. Where'd it go to? 4. See, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then how did I get that 5 over there? But first, 4 went up here then and went to 8, and then 8 went to 16, which I reduced to a single digit, which I call 7. Call it whatever you want. Call it decimal parity, counting on your fingers, numerology, it doesn't matter to me. 16 doubles 32 is 5. But now I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Each one of those are 40 degrees. That's really 360 degrees. But this part here is another world than this part here. They're two separate worlds. Today in our present day civilization keeps the system as one system, base 10 mod 9, which is 0 through 9. 9's the highest, 10 begins all over again with 1. They don't know that that this is a coil, 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, and that the 3, 9, 6 is a field. When you separate the two, then, so they're using old-fashioned math and sacred geometry. They're approaching sacred geometry, and they're getting irrational numbers, they're getting pi's, and then it's not repeating decimal, because the sacred geometers don't know what they're doing. If I'm insulting them, I'm doing it, I'm not even doing it to the severity that it deserves. Here they are looking for sacred geometry, but they're using conventional tools. Okay, the best engineers know you have to invent, when you have a new project that you receive the contract on, you specialize your tools, and you can underbid people and get the job because you're so low, because you make your own tools before you begin. Okay, anybody who's using conventional mathematics today, it's been standardized so all the mathematicians can communicate, but it has destroyed how zero works. And so I will be explaining how zero works. So I'm saying there is no endless non-repeating decimals. I'm saying there is no irrational numbers. This is a Rodin coil. It should not have been wound, but it is wound. And there should not be, there shouldn't be shellac or rubber coating on it. Right here is a shear, which you don't know about yet. I call it electron harmonic shear. The pair of coils are these two here. Me and my friends were talking a week or two ago, and I said that most of the Rodin coils are junk. The reason is because of the fact that they're designing them with a symmetry that is wrong. That the symmetry is in relationship to the gap space where the 396 is, and that there's two conductors going, that's a conductor going that way, that's another conductor going that way. I'll try and show it later on. And so it looks like there's just two conductors, and there's, or even one. Because I've never explained this in extreme detail in the past, there's, I don't know how many tens or hundreds of thousands of Rodin coils people have made. It's massive. They're heavily made in other countries as well. And, but I need to explain it properly. I actually am interested in doing it molecularly, okay, and not doing it as a winding, okay, but that's so over the edge. If I was really explaining this, or over the top, if I was explaining this really right, I'd be explaining it today quantumly, how I'd be explaining a quantum computer that nobody's even imagined or dreamed of, because it has no parasitics, it has no, it doesn't require any error correction. Okay, Microsoft invested billions of dollars in I can't say the word, a famous mathematician. Someone help me with it. Majorana, you don't know what I'm thinking of? Very famous mathematician. I should be addressing it as a surface topology, as a quantum computer that does not have decoherence. That it is, and that it's sustaining. It isn't short. Like the quantum results they get now are very short-lived. This is self-sustaining. This whole structure keeps itself alive, eternally. This whole thing is eternal. Okay? So, okay, we better keep going. So we're at the library, full-day workshop. This video will be on markorodin.com. I'll upload it there. That's it. Okay, next thing, please.
You'll need to close that.
Oh, we couldn't do that light, huh?
It's Vermont.
I need to get out of that screen.
There's a panel covering it.
There's a what?
There's a panel covering it. I can't unscrew it.
Okay, so what do I do?
Can you close up top?
Just hit close?
I'm hoping, yeah.
Okay. Don't mind me, everybody. I'm about to climb up.
You can turn off.
Marko, the
Why don't we turn them all off?
Do what?
Turn them all.
Oh, he's gonna pull it down.
Yeah, I want to risk you on this.
Oh, there's a cover over it.
Yeah, it's
Just
a
go
full,
like this.
it's a full unit,
You just go like that.
and then just unplug it.
Oh, well. Oh, you can do any color temperature.
There's it's above the switch. There's a plug that should.
Yep.
Yeah, that
Careful.
should rotate out. Yeah.
No, I'm not with the union. Okay, and I'm not going to put it back because with my luck it'll fall down on us. We'll do it right later. We'll leave a hole.
Did everybody get a crystal?
I
Yeah.
didn't. I didn't.
You didn't?
No.
Okay.
There's one that fell. Where's the one that
I'll grab you one. There you go, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's good. Okay. I'm going to try and stick with the program. I'm not that kind of guy, but I'm going to try and do it. Mysticism Unveiled is the first module, the Baha'i Sacred Scriptures and VVM Discovery Progression. God's Light Cone, Foundations of VVM Primer, and that's Vortex-based mathematics, and two particular perpendicular worlds. That's the discovery. That this right here, that 9 being, that's where the missing 0 is. I'm not going to mark up this. I'll wait till it's bigger. No point in making you strain your eyes. By separating the 396 from the 124875, the first world's this one, which is a coil. The other one is the flux field. Who discovered that? Scott Gosler. Okay, but that's a story we'll hopefully have later on. Spirit density mapping, the dandelion puff principle, and the toroid number map. And this is showing this here piercing the skin, the toroid. So it's a completely, this is the legend, the key for this. That's why I call it God's light cones. That's what light cones are in physics. They're keys. But this is the result. And then we'll have Baha'i. Okay, so this is the spirit density mapping, the dandelion puff principle, and the toroid number map. And then we did our best to organize it. And sometimes things will overlap, but we couldn't avoid that. Baha'i metaphysical technology, prime number squared, the creation equation. So the pattern that they're looking for primes today is wrong. When you take 3, 5, 7, 11, and you're trying to find a pattern. It turns out that there is a pattern. That if you square the prime, it makes a coil, a 3D base number counting system, and that 3D base number counting system, every time you go up a prime, like 3 squared is mod 9 base 10, it has 2 conductors. The conductors must always come in pair. Then the next prime squared is 5, mod 25, base 26. The base is always one more, so base 26 is the same as mod 25. I won't go into it, that's how it works. So mod 25, 5 squared, has 4 conductors, 2 pairs. Take the next prime, 7. But it's a 3D base number counting system. You've never seen a 3D base number counting system. Western civilization, Western academia does not know of 3D base number counting systems. Hello, how are you? So what happens is you're going to see what's 3D? X, Y, and Z. And we're familiar with the Cartesian coordinate system. So I found a coordinate system that's non-Cartesian, and its natures, or gods, however you want to put it, nature expressing the will of God, coordinate system that is inherent, embedded in everything. And if there's anything that exists that this is not embedded in, then this discovery's false. But we'll address that later, hopefully, too. I don't know where those slides will be, but I'm just going to have faith and hope they come up. Okay, Baha'i metaphysical technology, prime number squared, the equation. So I just touched on that a little. The eternal decocubit. So that's this toroid map, not as a schematic for a Rodin coil, but for an eternal computer, a self-sustaining computer, hypercomputer. Okay, a computer that is so advanced that it's considered fictional. Okay, a computer that does everything superlunarly, instantaneously, all the functions, everything are spontaneous. Okay, so superlunar, hypercomputer, and colloidal cognitive intelligence. That's what I do to replace AI, because these colloidal fields have supercoherence. I believe that they're conscious. Okay, so Richard Karsgaard, thank you for my logo that he did for me as a gift. There's multiply, there's divide, there's plus, there's minus, all in a circle. And that's what happens in this toroid number map. Every mathematical function that exists, as you will see from the testimony, because I'm going to do my testimony today, my peer review, it's every branch of math is wrapped into one. It's called the gut equation, or theory of everything. GUT stands for Grand Unified Field Theory. A single, and that's what prime number squared, the creation equation is. It creates an ideal perfect unity, which is a toroid, a donut. So what is a toroid and a donut? The saying is the secret of the donut is a hole. Our body's called the human torso. The tor, there's your hole. It compresses at one end, decompresses at the other end, with one caveat, that over the surface of that torus, there are underpinning nested vortices, compressing, decompressing. But I'm not going to try and go into that right now. That's what those red lines are showing, the world boundary conditions where those vortices abut. Those vortices are going into the internal volume. Again, I got a letter, I'll pull it up later on, saying that my math goes into the volume of the torus. It was shocking to Blake from Microsoft that my math was that perfect that actually went into the internal volume of a torus. So what happens is these underpinning nested vortices are staggered. They never align. They're aimed at the center. They're dissipating heat from the center. It's a refrigeration system. It's a thermal system. Everything uses this principle to maintain a constant temperature. Our body's always roughly 100 degrees. A black hole is always maintaining a constant temperature by bathing itself, by imploding with planets, stars, and then blows it out the other end. For every black hole, at the other hot side of a black hole is a hot gaseous plume of gaseous matter called a white hole. You can call the black hole male. That's just my opinion. I genderize it. I could be wrong. One's compression, I consider it male. Decompression is female. I give the numerical value 3 for male, 6 for female. Female is the visible world, and you see, is Mother Nature, which is feminine. 3 is the man's beard. His features are disguised or hidden. It's a negative implosion vortex. And I'm not exalting one over the other, male or female. They both come in conjunction. If you don't, they both cannot exist without the other. And because they are both male and female, lesser than the source, the control, which is the number 9. Everywhere on the internet, you'll see a common mistake. In fact, I will deviate for 1 second on that, which is, and explain it better. The mistake is they always put a horizontal line connecting the 3 and 6. You'll see it everywhere. Who wants to bring me up off of Giselle's desk Patrick's Enneagram, or showing it? You have one? Thank you. This is wrong. Okay? You see how it's connected at the base? Okay, that's a horizontal line. Can everybody see that? Everyone's familiar with this? Seen it a million times? It's wrong. Okay? These are diagonal lines, making the other part of the symbol. If we get to it, I'll show you all the math and how that works, dividing by 7, what the patterns mean. But there is no horizontal line. If there was a horizontal line, the fabric of space-time could be ripped or torn. Okay? You can't tear space-time fabric. It's elastic. It expands. It contracts. Can't be torn. It's seamless. Okay? This toroid number map is seamless, which I haven't explained yet mathematically. Okay? And because it's seamless is why it's perfect. So it's a very common mistake that everybody does. You'll not only see it in the Enneagram, you'll see it all over the place in all the other sacred geometry symbols. It's an error. Okay, I better pass it back before it gets lost. Okay, so those are the 4 modules for this morning, and then Lisa's put together 4 modules for this afternoon. So this is the Baha'i temple. You're looking through the filigree of the cement. It's sandwiched in between it is glass. This is in Evanston, Wilmot, Illinois. They say it's like one of the wonders of the world. It is a stunning, beautiful building. The Baha'i religion, I'm going to be discussing the scriptures. Baha'i is the equation that I discovered that made this from. Okay, well that was a good segue. Mysticism unveiled. The Baha'i sacred scriptures and vortex-based mathematics, discovery, progression. So, wait, it was so pretty. I was just enjoying it. Look at that beautiful fixture lighting up the dome, and you can see the blue sky through the dome, and it's huge. So I guess now we're done. Progressive revelation. All right. So this is sacred scripture. So this is considered God speaking. I'll be blocking you. Progressive revelation. We have in our possession a science of which should we, and I'm reading this stuff because I think it's important, and normally I just hurry through it. This comes out of the Surato Hayakal, tablet of the Surah of the Temple by Baha'u'llah. We have in our possession a science of which should we convey but one word to the beings, everyone would be made to believe in the manifestation of God and his knowledge. The prophetic cycle, we're used to referring to like Moses and other holy sacred people from the past. We're used to calling them prophets, but the prophetic cycle has ended. Now we're in a cycle that's called the Day of God, and it's where the prophet Baha'u'llah, and this talk is throwing in religion, metaphysics, mysticism, God knows everything. So he's referred to as a manifestation of God, and that's because of the invariable attribute of a prophet is infallibility, freedom from error. It's the scripture is considered as if God's speaking himself. So the manifestation of God and his knowledge, and be acquainted with the secrets of all sciences and attain a position whereby they would find themselves able to dispense with the sciences of both the ancients and moderns. So my number one thing is not to do blind imitation, to not idly follow in the footsteps of the brilliant people of the past. They may be smarter than me and better than me, and that's why I went to the scriptures and to get this math, because God has his own, in mysticism and metaphysics, buried in that is his own quantum field theory, his own quantum mechanics. Okay, if God's giving you prophets and giving you dietary laws and marriage laws and everything else, why would he not give you everything else as well? Okay, and why would he not also give you meditation laws and meditation teachings and everything like that? Of course, other religions, not as much do we know about in the Western civilization culture, but certainly in Buddhism and Hinduism, they certainly know about in the scriptures having meditation and yoga and mantras and everything else. The name of gods, and there's many names of God that have not been revealed and treasured, are considered the source of creation. They're literally considered the very basis of our existence, of matter, of the concrete world. But that's hopefully will come along later. By decrypting the most great name of God found in the Baha'i faith sacred scriptures, I was able to create the toroid number map and tap into the hidden energy of the universe. So the purpose of the class today is to understand how that toroid number map works. I give one number per one tile, but we'll be getting to that later. Okay, it's just unbelievable that my system works. It's unbelievable that I figured this stuff out. It's just unbelievable. Okay, but it's only one number per one tile. The most great name, walk thou, so again, this is Baha'i scripture. And there's a picture of the dome we were just looking through. And that's in Evanston, Illinois. The river's right near it. And those are the Baha'i gardens. And it has 9 sides. And there's a reason for 9 sides. Walk thou high above the world of being through the power of the most great name. See, it's capital MGN is the abbreviation, most great name. That thou mayest become aware of the immemorial mysteries and be acquainted with that wherewith no one is acquainted. Okay, so whatever I explain today, as this relates to quantum or power generation or propulsion or computers or microbiology, medicine, doesn't scratch the surface. So many people, I'm 70, I've been doing this, I made this discovery when I was in my 3rd year of high school. I became a Baha'i. So many people have applied it that you're going to see their applications and discoveries. They're the first, but there's going to be endless new discoveries made. Okay, this is snowballing like no one can imagine. Okay, so what is this? Baha'i sacred scripture. That's the Book of Certitude. That's the Hidden Words. That's the 7 Valleys and the 4 Valleys. This is the Dawn Breakers. This has the 360 derivatives that talks about it. The last tablet of the Bab sent to Baha'u'llah. The Bab was executed by a firing squad of I think something over 150 marksmen in Iran. And I don't even have to explain. That's what they do to anybody if you claim to have a new revelation, to be a prophet or a manifestation of God. They executed him. It was a death sentence. And he knew it was a death sentence. When you read a scripture, that's called the Bab. In the Baha'i faith, you have two separate prophets. You have the Bab. Baha'u'llah and the Bab never met. And he said him whom God would manifest would be appearing, and that's who Baha'u'llah is, who came after the martyrdom of the Bab. I know this book by heart. I use it when I'm explaining altered states, the apex of consciousness. It's the fourth valley. It's called Mahbub, the station of the beloved one. It says it's the secret of divine guidance. What's our purpose in this world? Secondary is all our technology. The Rodin coil, all inventions are secondary. They're insignificant compared to the seat or throne of God. And what is that? That's the human temple. That's yourself. That's us. Okay, we're the throne of God. Okay, each person is the face of God. And there's many teachings in religion about how you can approach God, whether it's directly or through each other, but that's in this book. The Hidden Words is brief aphorisms, 150 paragraphs, actually printed into a calligraphic scroll. I hope someday I have the resources to mass print it and distribute it. It was a very expensive project for me to do it, but it was approved by the Special Materials Reviewing Committee of the United States National Spiritual Assembly. The Kitabi Khan, we're going to talk about that a little bit too. That was revealed in 2 days and 2 nights. Okay, let's go to the next one. So that's the cover of the Kitabi Khan. They mass produced this. You can find it on eBay. I would only buy this edition. They reprinted it like 5 or 10 times. But the newer ones, they had typos. People got sloppy, lazy. It's a big embarrassment. The formatting, I don't like. This one was done with a lot more regard by earlier Baha'is. And executed with a lot more beauty. This cover is here for a reason. Okay, first thing, it's called the Book of Certitude. That's what Kitabi Khan means. This is the day in which the testimony of the Lord has been fulfilled, the day in which the Word, and that's what I'll be explaining, because the Word is the source of the name of God, the mystic Word. I'm explaining that because if you read this for the next 40 years, you wouldn't catch. You'd think the Word is meaning maybe like the Bible, the Scripture itself, the body of the Scripture. That's not what we're talking about. The mystic Word of God is the Aleph. The Aleph is the seat of the Hamza, and in Farsi it's said different than Arabic, but in Hebrew, all those languages, they all use the same Aleph, the same letters, the same alphabet, with slight variations. This is a day in which, so I'm going to go heavily into what really the Word is. This is the day and how it's breathed. This is the day in which the testimony of the Lord hath been fulfilled, the day in which the Word of God hath been made manifest, and his evidence firmly established. His voice is calling you unto that which shall profit you, and enjoineth you to observe that which shall draw you nigh unto God, the Lord of revelation. So now we'll read the cover. Well, actually, just what I wanted to cover was Book of Certitude by Baha'u'llah. Kitabi Khan is the Persian for the Book of Certitude. As the title implies, the book is the creative word of God. It was revealed in 1858 in 2 days and 2 nights. So this whole scripture, this whole book, which is this thick, which you'll find very hard to read. I had to read it 40 times before I began to even understand it, was revealed in 2 days and 2 nights. At the time when Baha'u'llah was in exile and prior to the time of his public declaration of his own mission. It was written in fulfillment of a prophecy of the Bab, forerunner of Baha'u'llah. We'll stop there. You can read it on your own as the opportunity allows. So let's go to the next slide.
Would you like to talk about the Ba and the Ha at the top?
Yes. So at the end of this book, we'll be showing a page revealed by the Ba and the Ha. It begins with, in the name of our Lord, the exalted, the Most High. I'll just read the preface. No man shall attain the shores of the ocean of true understanding except he be detached from all that is in heaven and on earth. Sanctify your souls, O ye peoples of the world, that happily you may attain that station which God hath destined for you, and enter thus the tabernacle which according to the dispensation of providence hath been raised in the firmament of the Bayan. The Bayan was the book of the Bab. And then it goes the essence of these words. So it begins with the name and then go to the end. It ends with revealed by the Ba and the Ha. Peace be upon him that inclineth his ear unto the melody of the mystic bird calling from the Sarato Mantaha. That's the tree at the end of the road that there's no passing. Glorified be our Lord the Most High. So revealed by the Ba and the Ha. You'll see that little apostrophe after the Ba, that little apostrophe after the Ha. That's called the glottal stop. It's the international phonetic symbol by that actually is known by all in every university. It's in linguistics and phonetics. That's because pure breath cannot begin a syllable, but we'll maybe get to that later on. But there you saw it in the scriptures. Oops, what happened? Okay, so now we're at the hidden words. This was Baha'i Verlog. It's a very beautiful edition. This is how it's supposed to be, the scriptures, with illumination. And it begins, He is the glory of glories. That's the English translation. Originally, in the Arabic and Persian we have, He is the Baha el-Abha. That's where I got the mathematical equation from. Baha means glory, Abha means splendor or most glorious. Who has a Kleenex for me? If you could pass one to me. I don't have one. Please. Here we go. Lisa's got one. My nose runs forward, and I actually got sick from preparing for a presentation a couple weeks ago. We've incorporated that presentation into this one, and so I'm still barely recovering, but I'm getting a lot better. Okay, go back though. Oh yeah, well let's just leave it then. So revealed by the Ba and the Ha. So the Baha, glory, is the physical world. In Arabic, as you change the order of the vowels and the consonants and the letters, you can have comparative meanings, superlative meanings, just by changing the arrangement of their order. Baha is the physical world, the world of creation, the world we exist in, the material physical world. Abha is the spiritual world, the invisible world that we don't see, that's hidden. So what you have is you have the B, which is compression, the H is which is decompression. This was by the Bab. 360 derivatives of the most great name of God. It was called the Star Tablet. I'm not sure, the tablet that you see online showing on Wikipedia and places, I don't think that is the Star Tablet. I'd have to ask somebody like Mujan Mumen. This is called a high cow. It's a 5-pointed star. It's considered masculine. When the manifestation of God revealed a tablet, they did it in a high cow, smaller head, smaller arms, longer legs. That's this, I believe that's Baha'u'llah's calligraphy. I don't think that's by the Bab. It looks like the Serato High Cow. I'm not sure though, the Star Tablet. But when the Prophet revealed a tablet for a woman, many times they were in the shape of an oval. The station for a woman, the feminine, the word is hori. It's also translated into maid of heaven, nymph of paradise. There's many adjectives for it, but the Arabic word is hori. For a man, it's the highest station is called mahbub, and that means beloved one. And men have individual stations, and there's many tablets revealed by the Prophet, like the tablet of the Hori, that discuss our stations, our latent potential, and our capabilities. There's no difference between men and women, but the vocabulary is day and night. But we should not think that it means anything. When man talks about a woman feminine, and he's talking about spirit, he refers to it as grace. But when he talks about a man, and he's talking about spirit, he uses the adjective bounty. Spirit and bounty are both adjectives for spirit. Okay, they're the same thing, but they're genderized. Okay? Remember that this duality of everything I'm going to be addressing is really because of the fact that there is no duality. It's all an optical illusion. The minimum number of anything is 3. 3 is always the control, and 3 is the source. It creates a chain reaction. Okay, there's so many great videos. I wish I had one here right now. We throw a ping pong ball, and the room's just covered in ping pong balls on mouse traps. And then 2 go, and then 4 go. It's called a chain reaction. Okay, and this bifurcation, this chain reaction, this clefting, is what created us. Okay, as we come closer to God, we come closer to each other. But the math behind it is the very source of all arithmetic, of all mathematical counting systems, this chain reaction. And I'm going to reveal it and show it to you in family number groups, multiplication series, different things. So anyway, it would be nice if I went deeper into this, but I don't want to go too deep. Abjad numerical notation, it will come up more. I'm showing the numbers, crimson pillar and the snow white path. Aleph is the C, the Hamza, the trumpet. That's the B, the garment is the H, the robe. B, it's not based on the order of the letters, it's based on the energy. They say it's just Arabic, Farsi, Hebrew, all these ancient languages that scriptures are revealed in are considered a spiritual language. They say the sound actually embodies the essence of what it's describing. And so here's a guide to the translation and pronunciation of the Persian alphabet together with the numerical value, abjad reckoning. This was done by Marzieh Gale. Marzieh Gale, I was lucky to meet her. I went to her house in San Francisco, met her and her husband. To me, she translated the 7 valleys and the 4 valleys. There's a new translation that's out, just released. It's worthless to me. I can't stand it. The one that she did is so poetic and so beautiful. Why they would butcher it up, I'm very sorry. Okay, so Marzieh Gale, this comes out of her book, which is the Baha'i Glossary. There's the Aleph. And so you can see that the letters go in powers of 10. Here's 100 to 1,000. Here's 1 through 10, 10 through 100. This is mysticism that's in the religion, and it was incorporated into the scriptures. It's not our English arbitrary system, 1 through 27. It's a different system. Okay. Oops. So next one. Let's see, what did I say? Abjad reckoning, Marzieh Gale glossary. I pretty much covered it. All Baha'i temples are 9-sided. Here I say that the base 10 system is not 1 through 10, it's 0 through 9. Since 0 is not a number, it's an absence. But the secret of Vortex-based mathematics is I put the 0 back into the center. I know where the hole is and how 0 works. Because today we have 0 being in a multiplication series, being in a number line. That's all false. Nothing begins or ends with 0. Not on 2D. We're talking about the gyroscope and 9, but this should all be visual. I really don't want to. I know I should be reading it and taking the time, but I'm not going to here. Let's keep going. Different Baha'i temples, all 9-sided. Glad you included that, Lisa. Thank you. Different countries. Okay. This is where I taught, as we mentioned before, Aerospace America. My paper was low-cost propulsion based upon the physics. It was actually based upon the reevaluation of the physics of matter. This is the old white tarp class that I did that my math went viral. It's amazing how supportive YouTube was. When I spoke here, before me was General Atomics. After me was, who was that? Satellite technology, James. Oh, magnetic propulsion systems. Here's space. Here was a speaker.
Space solar coils.
Boeing Electronics. So for them to stick me in with Boeing Electronics, General Atomics, was crazy. But the editor of Defense Science Magazine, the biggest military publication in the world, said I had the most revolutionary propulsion system ever created for outer space. We can try and talk about that, hopefully. I don't know. God, we went to all the trouble to list that the other night. We're talking about free energy devices, hypercomputer, toroid number map. These are old scientists that I work with. Once you're bitten by this, it happens the rest of your life. This is how I did it with him. Lisa was trying to get me to go into detail and explain how I did it when I met with the chair at UCLA. So I obliged her and I explained a lot of how I did it and where I did it. Egypt of Baha, that means that you found the presence of God, the face of God. So when I was in high school is when I did it, studied at UCLA, paranormal psychology. when I was a child, I learned that the sound of the kookaburra from Australia, that's the sound you hear, that loud bird in the back of the Tarzan movies, but it shouldn't be there in that bird because they only exist in you don't have to worry about water on that rug. It's just to kill them. It's a real tough one. I don't know if this, okay, it should be. What I discovered, this is a personal observation. When I was in a second or third grade, when in the back of the Tarzan movie, I heard the kookaburra sound. I imitated the sound. I could make it, but I was really good at it. You could hear it miles away when I did it, miles and miles. And I noticed that it affected my stamina and endurance. And I noticed how it so extremely affected me that there was such a stark contrast with all the other children compared. I tapped into something. So when we hear the story of the Emperor's Nightingale, and we hear how the bird leaves and they build a mechanical one so it leaves, and then it breaks a mechanical one, and then the Emperor's almost dead, but the Nightingale hears and returns to save the Emperor. There's something in the melody. So in the scriptures, that poetry about the Nightingale of Paradise is very important. And that has to do with the one-to-one, where we can actually take the brain, and it's an antenna, and it transmits and receives, and get divine guidance and commune with God. That's my belief. Okay, next one again.
So we're carrying the 1, 2, and 5 forward from the Baha'i scripture.
Yeah, correct. So, so when I was in my mid-teens, I found a book on the stacks in the research library at UCLA in Westwood. And the title of the book was something to that, that's not the exact title, but it was about the mysterious continued recurrence that over 90% of all the pyramids named in Egyptology are the Ba. So the other night, some of you heard me speak a couple weeks ago at the Red Rock High School, and someone asked me, and I said, I don't know, I don't want to touch on it. He said, do you know, a lot of us have been students of Drunvalo and the Merkaba. And they said, how does this connect? And they were talking about the rotating, what's the symbol called?
Star tetrahedron.
Say it loud.
Two rotating star tetrahedron.
Correct, thank you. And the thing is that Merkaba, it's all based on the Ba. Now you would think, what's so big about the Ba? Oh, I have a riddle for you. I used to live in Mexico. Name 3 states that touch each other that all have the same name. Can anybody do that? You have 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You have California. Then you have below it, which is Baja California. And then you have below that California Sur, Upper and Lower California. They're 2 separate states. 3 states all touching each other, same name. California, California, California. Anyway, the Ba is the soul in Egyptology that descends upon the pharaoh. If it doesn't come in 3 days, that 3 number again, everything we're doing that I'm going to be explaining in this class, which is going to be in Mod 9, because that's what you speak in, or I'd go into the next base system, which would be Mod 25, is all going to be, so we're using Mod 9, base 10, the Ba is the number 2, and it represents compression. Everything's always compression, decompression, implosion, explosion. They also use it on the BH curve for the magnetic field. But I'm just saying that Ba, that soul, see how that bird has a human head on it? Those pharaohs, that's what all their preparations were for. Their canoes, their treasures, their food supplies, okay, was the Ba. Okay, and that's the first half of my equation of what we're going to be explaining. Now, believe it or not, the Ba is the basis of all our civilization today. It's the basis of the binary code. I haven't explained that yet because I don't want to race ahead. I'm trying to stick with this presentation. Okay, but when we're done, you should know that religion, mysticism, metaphysics, and technology, that the most advanced scientific instruments are one and the same with the Ba. And of course, once you have the Ba, once you have compression, what do you automatically have at the same time in conjunction? They happen together. Decompression. Okay, so this is actually the all-seeing eye. I'm actually going much slower. I'm actually normally would not even take time for this, and I'm grateful that we have this much time. This all-seeing eye of providence is the number 9 in Mod 9 base 10, and it's omnidirectional. The omniscient is a straight line, and only the number 9 goes in a straight line. 9, 18, 27, it never changes. 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81, it always reduces to 9. Okay? It is a linear, non-bending spoke of a bicycle wheel, except they're omnidirectional. We call it the Dandelion principle. This is giving feedback. It is tethered to our Creator. It is a sensory feedback mechanism. I'm claiming to have reverse engineered the physical world that we live in, creation. And it reveals an omniscience that is above the physical world, which is a higher dimensional flux. I call this a flux. And with the only thing that responds fast enough to that flux is magnetism. That flux, those lines, I call spirit. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it inertia ether. You can call it a monopole. Okay? I found that is the missing energy, dark energy in the universe. I found a way, and not only do I know where it is, but I found out how to harness it and tap into it. It's a very abrupt statement to say that I can harness spirit and treat it technically as opposed to spiritually. Okay? But spirit is all prevailing. And it also prevails in the technical scientific world too, not just the moral, ethical, spiritual virtues world. So, okay. So there's the bob bird again. There's the coil for the wings. There's your 9. I didn't put that 3 and 6, that and that 9 right there, that red there. You'll be learning about this right here. This is a flux field, okay? This is not by accident. And this is a coil. That's my interpretation. Okay, so let's see what we got here. The sun, the 2 suns. So let's explain it. The bobbird.
The falcon.
Right. Falcon. It's too much to read. So, go ahead. So this is what she wanted me to do. Is this what you really want me to do, Lisa?
I really do.
Okay, she's going to force me. So I go like this, and I do what? Mark?
He's going to take you back to day 1, where he extrapolates from the Baha'i scriptures, the 2, 5, and 1, from he is the Baha El Alha, and show you how he got there.
Wish I had a better blue. There we go. I don't know how wide that is. And then I just hit close. I need my drink.
Get you a little table over there.
And then after this one, we will pause because that will be the end of module 1. So we'll take a bit of a break. And there might be questions.
So, we're here today. I'm going to do my best. She wants me to show what I did. So I knew that 9 was always at the zenith. Throughout the scriptures, I call it apogee 9. It's all about the zenith, the vertex, the highest point, the noonday sun, because that's the age in which we're living in now. This is the time of the maturity of mankind. all the remaining knowledge of God has been revealed. They say the youngest babe in this age is smarter than the oldest wise men of the past, of the earlier dispensations, prophets. This is called the Baha'i era. It's believed to be it's again the maturity of mankind. So 9 is always on top. So what did I do wrong? So we'll go here.
Save it,
Mark.
maybe?
No, just mark.
Oh, just mark.
Yeah.
Move
Just
it
move
to the
that.
top, but don't close it.
Yeah,
Don't
move
close
that.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then let's see if I can make a thick one. Oh, I'm happy. There's a nice big 9. So remember that 9 is the center of the gyroscope. It's the axis. When a gyroscope spins, and that's what we're going into. Everything I'm doing is going into an engine, a motor, and into a new technology that can do anything. Obsolete petroleum, obsolete nuclear power, obsolete the combustion engine. That's my goal. That's why I'm doing this. So 9's the center of the gyroscope. Gyroscope has a preferred frame of reference. The faster it spins, it self-orientates, it stands up by itself. There is an up, down, right, left, front, back. Again, spatial orientation is going to be explained with arithmetic, which is pretty unbelievable. So she took a circle of 360 degrees. I could write 360, but I don't want to make a big mess here, so you just hear me saying it. And 360 divided by 40 equals 9, which is our mod 9 base 10 counting system. Now remember, I'm saying that numbers are real. That nature's expressing herself with numbers. That's never been done in modern times. Okay, this discovery that is the discovery up there on the wall. You see that Afghan Persian rug? It was on the border of Iran. You see, I'm going to put numbers to each one of that. They knew this. You see the funny, how it's facing up here, it inverts, comes out the other side. See how it's coming down? And see how it's like an egg beater? See how it's going compression, decompression? That's the name of God. You see how it's missing the 9, the 3, and the 6? But I'll explain that here. And that's where the missing 0 is. You see how oblong and how the shape is so awkward? That's what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to start with the number 1. We're going to do the multiples of 1, although it works in any, that's just the tip of the iceberg. So I'm going to go 1, 2, because I'm dividing by 40 degrees. And I'm trying to do it like a clock evenly. 3, 4, I'm going to write sloppy. 5, 6, 7, and thank you for putting the degrees in, Lisa. Everybody see that? Not too hard? So what's going to be the next number after 9? 10. But 1 plus 0 is 1. 11, 1 and 1 is 2. 12, 1 and 2 is 3. So any number, no matter how high up you go, is going to be represented by those numbers, correct? Okay. So all I'm interested in, though, but now I'm going to throw a boomerang in out of right field. I want to get rid of nuclear. I'm an ecologist, environmentalist. I want to get rid of pollution. I want to get rid of destruction of our environment and all these chemicals in it that shouldn't be here, that our government is just inundating us with, which is a tragedy. Okay, that's where the cancer is coming from, is our environment. My interest, again, technology is secondary to the human temple, the throne of God. My interest is how to say the precise mystic intonation of the most great name of God. It says in the scriptures, if you can do that, then you come to know what you have not known of all the other states of sanctity. So to help me understand the name of God, once I discovered, I didn't know it originally, that in the Arabic, Persian, Hebrew, in those alphabets, that their alphabet was their numerical counting system too. I didn't know every letter was a number. I said, well, if the name of God is the source of creation, it's a no-brainer to know that the pattern that it makes has got to be perfect. And if I can put the numbers and see how the syllables or what's going on, it'll teach me about how to do the intonation, the invocation. And I'm a mystic. So just like we had the cartoons when we were in elementary school on TV, and they had Open Sesame, and the Aladdin's treasure would be hidden in there. I believe in the power of sounds. Okay, so I wanted to learn this holy secret key, this cipher. So I took the B, which equaled the Ba, which equals the number 2, and I took the Ha, which equals the number 5, and the Aleph, which represents the breath, but it's a little complicated. We're not going to go there now because it's a consonant, the aleph. It's very tricky. And but it's not by accident that's complicated like that, but it's not time to go into it. And the aleph is 1. So I got 3 numbers, 2, 5, and 1. Well, that seems easy. Okay, and I want to see the pattern that the name of God makes. Okay, so I put the 2 to the 1, and I said, well, that makes 3. And then I went and did 9 to 3. I'm going to do a solid because she wants it how I originally did it. It took 24 years to turn the 9 to 3 into a not solid line, into a flux field. And that was done by Scott Gosler. Okay, and then I'm going to go 8 and 4 is 12 is 3, and 7 and 5 is 12 is 3, but it ends on the 6. Well, I'll tell you the answers now, because even though we have a huge workshop today, there's still not enough time. There's not 1 6 there. There's 2. There's another one hidden behind it. That 6 is really 3, because 6 and 6 is 12 is 3. So it even lands on 3. It's always 3. Okay, this thing is all the knowledge. What I'm drawing right here is anything that will ever be known in the universe, past, present, or future. The whole thing, as we know in computer science, is information compression, okay, and retrieval. All the knowledge of the universe is compressed in the smallest amount of space is going to be in this diagram I'm making right now. So I did the 2 to the 1, which was the Ba, and I made a wave pattern because I was just trying to do like what I learned, we all know in a physics book. If you throw a pebble in the water, it's going to make concentric circles. It's going to make a wave. And this is my way of making a wave. By the way, on my YouTube channel, which is gotten to by markorodin.com, markorodin.com, there should be many more videos, but just those 2 videos alone are priceless. You'll have Tony and Ruhan, Tony Bell and Ruhan O'Flanagan, showing that they found in this toroid number map a quantum wave. They found the Dirac formula, everything that exists in quantum mechanics, Hilbert space, they found in my model. That's pretty unbelievable that I could live long enough to be verified and authenticated this discovery. And that video will not be easy to watch, and it won't be in this language. It'll be very advanced calculus and other forms of math, and you'll struggle with it. But it is there. So what's the next thing I do is I take the Ha, which is the 5 to the 1, okay? I'm just connecting everything to the 1, right? So now I have to do the waveform again. So 5 and 1 is 6, 4 and 2 is 6. It ends on the 3, but it's really a 6 because there's another 3 hidden behind it. 9 and 6 is 6 because it's 15, 6. 8 and 7 is 15, 6. So what did I make? The VW symbol. I call it God's light cone. We've called it many things. The symbol of enlightenment, the mathematical fingerprint of God. If I draw a line, you'll barely be able to see it, so I will do it. I hate to make a mess, but if I do it in yellow, we can probably handle it. So that should go right there. Do you see that the right and left is a mirror? Okay, remember I'm in my 3rd year of high school, but I pretty much was done with school by then. And I knew very well that you cannot use base 10 to model bilateral symmetry. You cannot use it for parity in physics, which is the cornerstone of physics, is parity. Okay, does everyone understand the word parity, bilateral symmetry? That one side, my right hand, is a mirror symmetry of my left, and I can hide one behind the other, but they're inverted. That's a property of physics. Okay, we see it everywhere in solar systems, disketting, the light being polarized horizontally. That's why our eyes are horizontal, not vertical. Okay, everything's polarized. I'm able to add polarity to this, but I'm not going to go there now. What I am going to go there now, and this is going to be a very big point. Too simple, too easy, you won't have any trouble following it. None of your phones would work, none of your laptops would work, nothing would work if it wasn't for this right here. This is a binary code. And what is the binary code doing in this symbol and inverting? 1 goes to 2 is the first part of the binary code. 2 goes to 4. Do you see the chain reaction? 1 neutrino liberates 2, liberates 4. Where does the 4? Now, we can't go off this line. We're stuck on it. It's a railroad track. 4 goes to 8. 8 goes to 16. I will write it now. Oh, I'll leave it yellow too. It won't make it so messy. Okay? Everybody knows that 16 comes after 8 in the binary code. But what you don't know is that 7 comes after 8 in this system, because 16 reduces to 7. I'm only interested in creating a Hansel and Gretel pathway to get home, to not get eaten by the witch, okay? Leaving breadcrumbs, okay? And this going back, this 7 after 8 instead of before, is a pathway for me because I'm matching it to a geometry, to this line, which I haven't explained yet. And then I turn this geometry into a surface topology. That is a miracle. It took me 24 years to turn this into a skin and to figure out what it is, okay? But right now we're just only talking about the very cornerstone of our civilization, which is a binary code, okay? So now 16 doubled is going to be a 32. We already know that. Where does the 32 go? We can't leave the picket fence. We have to stay on the trail, on the railroad track, right? So where does it go, the 32? Tell me where I write it.
5.
That's right. It has to go there. Okay, it's the most predictive math there is. And then 32 doubled to 64, where does it go?
1, 9,
Oops.
right?
To the 1. And 6 plus 4 is 10 equals 1. And we just closed infinity because infinity on the physical world that we live in our creation is not infinite. In the physical world, infinity is a bounded infinity. It's not infinity of direction, and it's not infinity of duration. It's an infinity of spin continuum, of renewal. So next number is 128 equals 11 equals 2. The most predictive math there is. I don't exert myself. I don't think. In fact, I'm snoozing. I've turned off my mind. I'm relaxing because it's doing all the work. I knew this presentation is independent of me. It's not me. It stands on its own. 128 doubled is, bear in mind you're skipping that 3. Bear in mind you're skipping that 6. And that's a big deal. Okay? So what happens? Thank you. So what happens is 128 goes to 256. 2 plus 5 is 6 equals 13 equals 4. 256 doubled is 512 equals 8. But here's the tip off, okay? There was a hole right here. They're not really touching. That's where the missing 0 is. And this circle has a center. This is a center right here is 0. But the 0 is off center to the circle. And that's necessary to get energy out of this device, okay? If the center was in the center, they say you couldn't tap into the 0 point energy. They say that you have to create. I won't go into it any further because I'm just quoting them, other scientists. But what happened? I crossed the axis. I went 1, 2, 4. I'm going down. I'm making little arrows down. But all of a sudden now I'm going up, and now I'm going down again and down again. But if you look at these arrows, they are tethering. They are gears. Numbers are gears. Does everybody see that they're gears? That the left and right is a mirror? So what happens is the 4 now is crossed the axis. It's inverted right there, and it's come out the other side back up on top. Instead of counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, how we've been used to thinking, like counting in a circle. Forget counting on the circumference. And the fact that this symbol is embedded in a circle is the explanation of a line to a circle. It explains everything in relationship to relativity, to quantum mechanics, to 3D space, to dimension. Anything is covered in this. So 512 goes where? 1024. There's the 7 again after the 8. And where does that go? 2048 equals 14 equals 5. And infinitely on. There's only 6 numbers in infinity. And those 6 numbers are 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. And then it repeats over and over again. There's only 6 numbers. Infinity has been compressed to only 6 numbers. Okay? So I can just go ... And that's supposed to be a lazy 8. Infinity. Okay? Everyone follow? I'm just dropping it there. I've created what I'm making is an axiom. And I'm saying that's the physical world. Now, I'm going to get really heavy, but I'm not going to explain it, but I'm going to make the statement. That is the pathway of superconductivity. And it also, because there's 2 circuits that go in opposite direction, it creates opposite undulating waves in the reverse directions. That's just me being poetic. that the shear, the harmonic of the whole thing, insulates it. So it actually, not only is it superconducting, but it doesn't require any insulation. I call it an electron harmonic shear. It gets rid of all resistance, but it creates, and whoever wove this rug, they maybe weren't applying it to technology. Who knows how they were applying it to it? Meditation, worship of God, mysticism, but it's not by accident, that symbol. Okay, so now I'm going to do something, okay? Now I'm going to do the infinity backwards. Now this is very fundamental and very basic, but I'm obliging everybody.
We'll get to that in the doubling and halving sequence. This is just, or did you go into the halving in your discovery? Or is this about
I'm going to stay on task.
Okay.
No, I discovered this instantly.
Okay.
So.
Do you want me to bring up those, or do you want to do it by hand?
No, I'd rather do it by hand right now, because you started me by hand, and they already are familiar with this.
Great.
We'll have it later anyway. It'll just come up. So if you go backwards, what's a half of 1? 0.5. Let's get rid of red. And yellow. Make it gold. Done. Okay, so now we have 0.5. Well, that's what belongs there, doesn't it? Okay. So what comes after 0.5? We've created a progression or a harmonic. We've created a path. So if we have to continue that. Once you start, you can't disrupt it. So if I'm splitting the 1 to 0.5, then I have to split the 5 to here. And what's going to be there? 0.25. Does everybody get it?
Yep.
And you agree. And of course, tell me what's the most blatantly yelling and screaming thing? 2 plus 5 still equals a 7. Okay, so we're pretty much safe that whatever we do to get up to the 8 next is going to have to equal an 8. Okay, and what's a half of 0.25? 0.125 equals an 8. Okay, I know, this is nuts. Okay. Okay. Because this has been in front of us all the time. I just did a talk for Robert, Quest for Ancient Civilizations, at the high school. Some of you were there. It's been in our math. Ancient civilizations, everybody's always trying to decrypt, everything. No one ever even once in number theory separated the 3, 9, and 6 from the 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 and thought that in our modular, that they told us that base 10 came from 10 fingers. They didn't think it's really from the first true prime, 3 squared, 2's not a prime. I got to get into that later on. All I'm saying is our number system has all the knowledge in the universe embedded in it. Whether it's going to be pharmaceuticals, AI, microbiology, anything. Okay? And I can show you articles, but I didn't preserve them, of how they're actually trying to apply fundamental arithmetic to DNA sequencing. But anyway, so what's the next number? 512? So, no. 0.125 equals 8. So now I go down here, invert, come out the other side, and what do I got? A half of 0.125 is 0.0625. 6 plus 2 is 8. 8 plus 5 is 13. And what does it equal? 4. Okay? Now I go over here, and what's a half of 0.0625? 0.03125, which equals 11, which equals 2. Okay? So, our ancients knew this. They encrypted in our symbology. They left us Easter eggs. Okay? So what were those Easter eggs? 2 and 5 are the same symbol, inverted. Okay? And when you overlap them, they make the there's a 2, there's a 5, it gives us our lazy 8. Okay? They knew this. Everything I'm doing, they knew. In fact, it is a cornerstone, and I would like to pull up some things, but I'm not going to, that Giselle has on her desk, and jewelry and things. Egyptology, the #1 talisman. This was all the Ba, the Eye of Horus. This is all the Eye of Horus I'm doing right here. But we'll come to that later on. So it's really messy, but if I clean it up, it'll even get worse. I would rather leave where we're at. So now I'm going to try doing something else. But before I do, there's things I haven't explained yet. I haven't explained. You would say that 1 and 8 are not the same, even though this point and that point's a mirror. You would say anything that's lining up horizontally is an inverted opposite, is a mirror. They're polar mates. So the polar number mates are 8 and 1, 7 and 2, and 5 and 4. 3, 9, and 6 don't count in that system because it's a higher dimensional world, but I'll just leave it at that. So there's only 3 polar mates made out of 6 numbers, 8 and 1, 7 and 2, 4 and 5. Now, before we go there, I'm going to go into the powers of 10. This is what you want me to do. So
Well, we're going to get there in.
there's a million ways, but
Yeah, okay.
they're guaranteed to get it because I'm going to ask them if they understand it when I'm done. So what happens is, this is not 10 fingers, okay? When they told us that we count in base 10, that we have 10 fingers, they were spurious. They invented and made it up because it sounded good, okay? Where the powers of 10 come from is this 5 right here went from 1 to 0.5, can be written as 5/10. It's a fraction. And the powers of 10, 1 times 10 is 10, 10 times 10 is 100. So what is this over here? This is 0.25. What is it? 25 hundredths. 10 times 10 is 100. So the powers of 10 have nothing to do with our 10 fingers. It has to do with this system. Everyone still with me a little? And remember, this system is a language. It's their alphabet. It's unbelievable. It's how they communicate. So this is 0.125 or 125 thousandths. Okay? Something happened here. This thousandths, after 3 O's you put a comma, is a mirror of this 1 right here. So 1s are always up at the top. Now down here we had 5/10. What is this going to be over here? A half of 0.125 is 625, 625 10 thousandths. So what's the mirror of 10? 10 thousandths. 10s are always at the bottom, 1s are always at the top, and the hundreds will always be at the middle. Because then what's 625? This is 3,125 hundred thousandths. Okay? So hundreds are always at the middle. In other words, this is sorting all arithmetic, all mathematical functions simultaneously into a stratified level. It's stratifying everything. It's polarizing everything. That's not supposed to exist in arithmetic. Okay? This is a colander. The closest analogy I got to it is a rock quarry. If you go to the rock quarry, you're going to see boulders that are 6 feet across. You're going to see gravel, pea gravel, and they give it different screens, different grades. 1 inch, ½ inch, ½ inch. Okay, this is sorting all mathematical functions like a rock quarry. This is a Turing machine. Everyone still with me? I'm trying not to jump ahead. So I'm going to back to the 1 and 8 to how perfect this system is. Now bear in mind I haven't explained how to use it. So don't give me a hard time because there is an app. This would be worthless if it didn't apply to hardware and software, to technology. Okay, but because it does apply is why I'm putting you through this. Is everyone still with me? Okay, right now I'm only discussing the property. Ouch, that's why I hit it. I always hurt myself. I'm discussing the property of symmetry. Okay? That's all I'm talking about is mere symmetry. And the whole idea is to punch holes in this system. Okay? To find an error. You can't. Okay? If the head of Microsoft, advanced operating systems, future operating systems, which is the most advanced software in the world, couldn't figure it out. Okay? find an error. Believe me, not only did he not find an error, he actually found an application to computer science. So valuable that I don't even know what it is because they won't tell me. All based on my work. Because I don't want to know. Because that's what happens. Everything always goes south. Everybody always patents it. Nobody shares it with mankind. Because it's too valuable. Except me. Because I don't have a patent and I don't have a copyright. So let's look at what obviously looks wrong with this. 8 and 1 are not mirrors. 7 and 2 don't look like mirrors. 4 and 5 are mirrors. But I'm saying the right and left is a mirror. So let's do multiplication series with 8 and 1. They're the same distance from 9. I'm not going to explain the time component of this right now. But there's actually, based on the spirit emanating, and it's called phase change, transition, moment of occurrence, event, moment of occurrence. It creates, there's a relationship to the distance of the axis. That's a time component. So multiples of 1 we know pretty well. Everyone can see through this mess? Multiples of 1, that'll be 10, 11, 12, so it'll be 1, 2 all over again. Everyone see I just did multiples of 1? No complaints? Okay. So now, if everything's starting from the inside out, if this is the source, and there is an emanation of spirit shooting out from the inside out, okay? If spirit is real, which believe me it is, okay? Then this has to be a mirror of that. 1 8 is 8, 2 8 is 16, which is 7. 3 8 is 24 equals 6, 32 is 5, 8 times 5 is 40 equals 4, 48 is 12 is 3, 56, 11, 2, 64, 10, 1, 72, 9. It's the exact same pattern, but a reflection. Does everyone see that? Okay. And each one of those numbers that equal 9 are the same distance from 9. So 8 and 1 is 9, 7 and 2 is 9, 6 and 3 is 9, 5 and 4 is 9. Later on I'm going to be explaining family number groups and how this relates to one source, one action, and 2 half opposite equal reactions. How it relates to bifurcation. How it relates to a chain reaction. But let's do 2 and 7 now. Fair enough? So let's do 2 and 7. And it is pretty messy.
Can you erase?
Huh?
Can you erase some of that? Or do you want to keep it all?
I don't know. Try another color. Try wine. 2, 4, 6, 8, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Because that was 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Everyone follow that? Last number before 9 was 7. What's all the way across from 2 on the horizontal other side? 7. Okay? Last number before 9 over here was 7. So that means that 2 and 7 are polar number mates. One of the applications of this is I could take any number, divide by 7, and get it as a whole number. Not by adding them together, but by understanding how the system works, how multiplication series works. But I just threw that out as a tip, as an Easter egg. 1 7 is 7. 2 7 is 14 is 5. 3 7 is 21 is 3. 4 7 is 28 is 10 is 1. 7 times 5 is 35 is 8. 42 is 6. 49 is 4. 56, 11, 2. 63, 9. 2 4 6 8 1 3 5 7 9. 2 4 6 8 1 3 5 7 9. But mirrored. Inverted. Everyone see that? Remember, I'm 70 years old. I've been doing this. I did this when I was a teenager. Okay? If I don't know it by now, okay, it's ingrained. But we're going to do 4 and 5, but then I'm going to show you why nothing's a duality. Okay? And that's still the tip of the iceberg of why it's not a duality. But we're going to go now to 4 and 5. So let's do 4, let's do 5. You could yell out the numbers for me, but you don't have to. 4, 8, 3, 7, 2, 6, 1, 5, 9. Which is the mirror opposite of 5, 1, 6, 2, 7, 3, 8, 4, 9. What does it mean? What it means is those numbers are horizontal, they're mirrors, but there's a problem. Because they get from this 4 to this 5 in either direction, which looks like a duality, which is an optical illusion, looks like parity, mirror symmetry, you have to go 3 steps. If I go from this 4 to here, that's 1 step, that's 2 steps, That's 3 steps to get to that 5, not 2 steps. There is no duality. It's on optical illusion. If I go this way, it's 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. To get anything horizontal, you have to be 3 steps. Okay? It's a very long path. Okay? So 2 and 7, 3 steps away. 1, 2, 3 that way, or 1, 2, 3 that way. But to get to 2 to 7, to get that horizontal mirror symmetry, everything's separated by 3, not by 2. Because in between of all the dualities is a higher, invisible, hidden control that is the source of the duality. Everything has a theomphy, a pecking order. And everything is subservial to something bigger. So 8 and 1 is going to be separated by 3, 2. I might as well do it. 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3. So 8 and 1 are separated by 3. Now, I know this is really a hell of a mess, but I have this thing where I leave things because I try and not. So let's see if I can show you how profound this is. I picked the color green. We knew we had the number 1 here, and I did multiples of 1. But that's not showing impartiality. That's showing a bias. Okay? So now I'm going to do another bias. Okay? Which I'm going to do multiples of 2. It makes sense. I did multiples of 1. Next one we'll do multiples of 2. And after that we'll do another multiple. So let's do 2. 2, 4, 6, 8, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Everybody see that? Okay. But what do you have? You have the 1 right there going to the 2, 2 going to the 4 to the 8, the 8 to the 7, 7 to the 5, 5 to 1. No matter what your control is, what your bias is, you will always have this circuit. And you'll always have this 396, 693 gap space. Okay? Because it is the underpinning geometry of the universe. Okay? So, I do confess it is getting messy, but let's pick another color. Okay. I'm going to use red, but I usually only use red for the 396. Okay? So now, I'm going to do 4, 8, 3, 7, 2, 6, 1, 5, 9. And sure enough, I can't even see. There's your 1. Where's our 2?
Down at 5.
Right there?
Yeah.
1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 7, 7 to 5, 5 to 1. It doesn't, this circuit, nothing can exist that it does not exist in. Nothing. Now, it's not in the order of our sequence of our presentation, and I'm not going to jump around because I've agreed to try and keep a linear sequence. But but I can. I did this when I was in my 3rd year of high school too. Okay, I can show it by forcing myself to do it by hand. Then I'm not out of, just hit close. Okay.
You can hit, clean.
And then hit mark again.
Okay, hit mark again, mark. So what do we associate mathematically with life frequently? The Fibonacci sequence, right? It's heavily associated with biology. Let's do the Fibonacci sequence. Because I'm saying this is embedded in everything. The enneagram, I could do this with I could do it with anything. Okay, but let's do, now this is going to be a little bit hard, too complicated, but. So give me the Fibonacci sequence. 1,
6.
1. I don't know how to use black.
You want me to bring up the Fibonacci sequence?
No, because then I've broken my rule, which has gotten out of order.
Okay.
I've got the whole thing
Clean
right
right there.
here.
Clean, Marco. Clean.
You're just going to count it out to me?
Yeah, it's.
I'm going
Do you want the whole numbers, right? Not the root numbers?
No.
Yeah.
I want the root numbers. But tell me, if you say the whole and then the root.
Okay. 1 is 1, of course. 1 is 1. 2 is 2. 3, 5, 8. 13 is 4. 21 is 3. 34 is 7. 55 is 1. 89 is 8. 144 is 9. 233 is 8. 377 is 8. 610 is 7. 987 is 6. 1597 is 4. 2584 is 1. 5, 6, 2, 8, 1, 9, and then it repeats.
Okay.
24 digits. Count that, make sure it's 24.
It is, I can tell by looking. I'm just going by feel. I've done this for so long. So now, we'll change a color. Thank you for doing that. Green. Okay. So we're going to go so 1 to 4. See this one right here? I just went to 2. You see that? I'm saying that these circuits must come in pairs, which I haven't shown why or how yet. I won't explain it.
I'll just do it.
2 to 4. 1, 2, 3. 4 to 8.
Skips every.
Huh?
How many does it skip every time?
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Oops, wrong 8. Goes
Yep,
to that
right,
8.
There you go.
Goes to that 8. 8 to 7. Oops, I went to the 3. How do you erase?
More, maybe go under.
Oh, look at that.
Nice.
8, 7, 5, 1. And look at the direction this is going in, because the next circuit is going to be going in the reverse direction. You familiar with DNA? Have you ever seen, you may not have, that when they show the helixes, they show them going in opposite directions? This is the principle behind that, these circuits, okay? So now I'm going to go in the reverse direction. I can remember how. That circuit is a green circuit, so now we're going to make a blue circuit, okay? So now I'm going to go 1 to 2, ouch, here. 2 to 4 here. Everyone see what's going on? We have 2 circuits. 4 to 8 here. They're always the same distance from each other. So 8 to 7, which is way over here. 7 to 5 over here. And 5 to 1 right there. Okay, because they must come in pairs. Nobody knows in computer science today what you already know, that the binary code, 128, 256, 512, compresses down to 6 numbers, and they don't know that they must come in 2 circuits, not 1. You can never have one binary code going one way without another one in the reverse direction diagonally. So where's our 396? Now I'll make it red. Okay? So here's our 6 to 9. 9 to 3, and bear in mind this is a higher dimensional flux field. It's not a circuit like this. By separating them, you know the secret of the universe. As Tesla said, if you knew the secret of 369, if you knew the magnificence of 369, you would know the secret of the universe. But it's not 369, it's 396. 9 must always be in the center. So see, and 3 and 6 can never touch. So where's our missing 3? I went oh, there's the 2, 3. So this goes to 9. Where's my 9? There it is, right there.
Yeah, it looks like a 7.
Yeah, 9. And then that 9 goes to 6, and we're done. Okay? And that's the flux field. That's the source of the whole thing. When we were kids, we went to school.
You skipped that 9. 3, 3, 9, 6, 6, 9.
I can't see.
You
Oh,
see
I
it?
missed a 6.
Yeah, there's that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. I hit that. I go like, oh no. No, I don't want brush. Pen. Okay, how do I do it?
Go to more if you're looking for a bigger eraser or what?
I just want to erase. No.
Nope.
Pen. How come I don't have an erase option?
Double tap it maybe?
Maybe 2 fingers? No? 4? Oh, a lot of fingers. Okay. Okay, so then I go 9 to 6 and 6 to 6. So in between, this 6 and 6 right here is a boundary condition. It has to do with underpinning nested vortices, which I have not explained at all, which are the control of everything, life or death. You can steer a spaceship only by the underpinning nested vortices, but that's another story. So it's 396, 396, then 693. And there's your two circuits. I haven't explained the other 1 and 8. This is a shear. I'm not even going to try and explain it or go into it right now, what this is and how it works, the 1 and 8s. This works for every Fibonacci sequence. There's not one Fibonacci sequence that it won't work for. I only went to it. Why did I even go here? Because I said those circuits are embedded in everything. I went from showing that there is no control, multiples of 1 or multiples of 2 or multiples of 5. It's all the same. You always have these circuits and you always have this 396, 693. It's always inside of everything. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this and she's going to go to the next. Well, so where was I? So I was showing what I knew. I did powers of 10. I did 9. Oops. Let's see if I left a few things undone. I should have said 10. I don't know. Okay. So I'm going to go 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what happens though is this 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. We've discussed it somewhat at length. Oops, that's kind of sloppy, but emanation coming out. I haven't. You see, I'm getting way too heavy, but tough luck. If this is the point and you collapse the whole thing on itself, so you have what's called a leading edge and trailing edge. So if this is a point like a spear, 2 times 2 is 2 equals 4. But then both over here on both sides, 1 times 4 is 4. Then I go over here, 8 times 5 is 44. 8 times 5 equals 40. 4 plus 0 equals 4. And then I end up here again, 7 times 7 is 49 and equals 4. So this line, based on if I collapse it on itself, it's all about folding, collapsing, and unfolding, will always be a 4. But eventually I apply that to creating insulation to get rid of friction and resistance to get superconductivity. But let's just do another number. Let's take the 4. Well, this time 4 times 4, and this is not an easy thing to understand. So I pity you. I'm just doing it to be thorough. 4 times 4 is 16 equals 7. And then 2 times 8, see there equals 16, 7. These lengths, see how this is a long one, this is a medium one, and this is a short one? This is like an erector set, like a Lego set. Each one of these lengths you can assemble to model dimension and space and energy. Crazy. So now I had, I have starting with the 4, and I had 2 times 8 is 67, so now I go to the 1 that way, and I go here, and 1 times 7 is 7. And where do I end up with? I go to the 5 that way, and to the 5, and 5 times 5 is 25 is 7. So that line value never changes. It's either a 4, a 7, and the other one's going to be a 1. And that is really shows up when you turn this into 3D. Bear in mind, this whole thing that we're doing really isn't 3D, what I'm explaining right now. This is like a legend. So it's a blueprint or schematic. So where's 1? 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 1 is 1. So I go 2 way in each direction. 2 times 5, they're reciprocals. This 10 is 1. And then I go 2 steps that way, 2 steps this way. 4 times 7 is 28, is 10 is 1. And I go 3 steps to the 8 that way, and 3 steps that way to the 8, and 8 times 8 is 64, is 10 is 1. Okay. You're not going to know what a toroid number map is, a shear, but there's 3 of them in base 10. There's shear 1, shear 4, and shear 7. There's 3 toroid number maps. Gets heavy duty into quantum mechanics and to free energy. But okay, I am done now with showing how this line works by always not changing. Now, what I did want to show one more thing why I stayed on this, and I'm pretty much winding down, was this, the yin and yang. Oops, that's too thick of a line. Okay, so now we have 9, which is the source. Only 9 lines up over the 0. This is the missing 0. And the 3 and 6 never touch. They cannot connect. That's the big mistake that everybody does. 3 and 6 only connect to 9. Okay, and this time now, I'm making it either a dashed line or little bullets, okay, because it's a higher dimensional flux field. And now I'm about to explain the yin and yang. Okay? The 3 and 6, you see this? End in the middle of nowhere. They're the only things that end in the middle of nowhere on this whole map. Again, this was figured out by Scott Gosler. What did he discover? That this is a coil, 12475, and every coil must have a field. He is a mechanical engineer, and many other things. And what he discovered was this coil must have every coil must have an associated magnetic field. And this field, how he figured it out was you can't have something ending in the middle of nowhere, being physical like this. And the 3 and 6 is the magnetic. And now it seems like I'm being like a child and giving it attributes that are capricious. But this is the magnetic field, 3 and 6, and this is the spirit, which is its source. Now what happens is 3 and 6 are the yin and yang. Well, we know that with magnetism, the poles. There's your 3, there's your 6. So what's the definition of yin and yang? 2 components. So 3 doubled is 6, but what's 6 doubled? 12, which is 3. They are always one or the other. 12 doubled is 24 or 6. They're meeting the definition of the yin and yang. 24 doubled is 48 is 12 is 3. 48 doubled is, I can't remember, 96, which is 15 is 6. They're always back and forth, one or the other. There is a pulse coming out of here. This machine has a heartbeat. This is a schematic for a machine. So what happens now is if there is no duality, like I said, where's the third part? It's right here, which is hidden. It's the S curve. It's the 9. Remember the 9 never changes? 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, it lines up over 0. 0 times anything is nothing, can't do it. 9 times anything is always complete, unity. The toroid number map, which we haven't even looked at yet, is unity. It's perfection. So what happens now, and I'm going to slow down and say this slowly because it's important to me, is it makes a perfect diamond, that 9 over that 0, okay? Because there is an energy shooting out of there, okay? And that 9 is at the zenith. And I found a way to see the invisible of invisibles. This is the invisible of the invisibles. I found a way to see the omniscience, the hidden energy in the universe. Again, so where's the third part of the yin and yang? It's in the middle. It's in the center, just like this, okay? And so what happens is this now is going to get hard. And this is, believe me, it was so hard for me to do it. The fact that I even solved it is the difference between this discovery never going anywhere or being a spaceship that can go anywhere in the universe and never return to Earth for fuel, because that's what I've invented. Okay, I've invented, it's called a reactionless drive. It's an engineer's dream shop come true. You can go anywhere in the universe and have an inexhaustible electricity and never have to return to Earth back for fuel again. Not that I plan on doing it, but the thing is, again, I'm not going to try and explain it right now, and it's going to be very hard. And it took me 24 years, okay? This becomes an x-axis, the 8 and 1. You might say that because I figured out these axes and how it works, and what's going on here, that I literally backed mankind into a corner. This technology is inescapable now. There's no way to avoid it, because I figured out what it is and how to use it and how to apply it. And I'm explaining it right now. These axes cycle. So that's the axis. When that's the x-axis, this becomes the y-axis, and this becomes the z-axis. And I have a lot of illustrations to show how to see these axes and the kinetic energy. Bear in mind, I'm claiming I'm tapping into a potential kinetic energy that mankind isn't even aware that exists. I'm harnessing spirit to do real work. So this axis was the hardest one to determine. It's called the W-axis. There are 4 axes, the 9 over 0. And I'm pretty much done using this symbol. This symbol is a blueprint, it's a schematic. I would know there's one more thing. Okay. Again, this isn't going to make too much sense, but that's how it goes. We'll come back here. When this is a 9, right now it's positive. This is very important to me. It will show up later on. It has to do with electricity. It has to do, I'm just going to throw out a lot of grandiose words. It has to do with thin film deposition. It has to do with the dispersion of spirit and magnetism and electricity. Everything likes to be spread out. They use it in sputtering, thin film deposition. Everything likes to be uniformly spread out, evenly. So when we were kids, when we were walking down the alley and it was a heavy rain and we had the oil slick on the gutter and the water running down, we saw rainbows. We saw purple, red, right, from the oil on the water. That's uniform dispersion, okay? This whole thing is all about how spirit is, when and where it is and when it's not. The ratio is 1:6. And that's the goal, to know where spirit is, how to tap into it, and where it's not, and to leave it alone. So it's all about the dispersion of spirit in relationship to magnetism, because only magnetism, the 3 and 6, can respond quick enough to give slippage and free play to the 9. So when 9 is positive, 3 is negative, and 9 is negative. They are not different from each other. They are always the same, 3 and 6, okay? And the 9 is the control. So in reality then, if I have a positive 9, I have a hidden 9 that you can't see right now. Remember, this is the most compression could ever be of knowledge and information. So where's that negative 9? It's hidden right behind that positive 9. And if this is a negative 3, where's that positive 3? It's hidden right behind that negative 3. And where's the positive 6? Hidden right behind. Because just like feminine, Mother Nature, hexagonal 6, in nature you have what is called hexagon close packing or hexagon closet packing. It's very relevant to superconductivity. Okay, it has to do with the maximum density that you can have, and lattice structures. So in reality, there's 6 numbers here now because I've given polarity. It's not 396. There's also then a hidden 693. So it goes, and it never breaks that optical illusion of duality, of that binary negative positive. But it's an optical illusion. So I'm going to start with negative 3. I'm going to go to positive 9. See how I'm going from negative to positive? So now I'm going to go to from positive 9 to negative 6. Okay? So where's my next number? I don't go back to 9. I go to the 6 behind it. And then I go from positive 6, what's it going to go to negative 9 to positive 3. Okay? Again, when 9 is negative, 3 and 6 are both positive. All has to do, again, with the chain reaction, bifurcation, splitting. Spirit emanating, magnetism. And the secret of magnetism is if you have magnetism, you can make electricity. And that's why this is endless and unexhaustible electricity. Because I have figured out how to, the saying is, said, very famous saying is, the nation that controls magnetism controls the universe. Okay? Because from magnetism, you get electricity when you cut the conductor, the 12485. So now I'm going to do polarity on the 12485, and then I'm done with this symbol for now. Okay, so it's a little hard. I don't know if I got a color I can use. I'll use that color. We're going to go here 1. But now this is no longer there's not going to be 1, 1 in this math. There's going to be 18 numbers because I have polarity. So this is so now I have a positive 1. Everyone see that mess? So now what's this 2 going to be? It's going to be negative 2. Remember, you can't break that binary flip-flop rhythm, that optical illusion, and you have to always have everything being a mirror of the opposite polarity. So positive 1, negative 2, here's 4. What's it going to be? Positive, okay? And then I go over here to 8. But what is this 8 over here? It is a negative. Ouch, hit my foot. That's what they're for. Ugh. So here is positive 1 to negative 8. Well, remember how it was going up plus 1 and negative 8 is going minus 1 down? Now polarity. Did everyone follow that? It's not that hard. Okay, so what has this got to be? If that's a minus 2 over here, then this has got to be negative, positive. This is a positive 7. And the multiplication series were in opposite directions. Now, there's a use for this, and it's going to get really hard, because not only do I have an x-axis over here, x-axis, that is positive, but now I got another x-axis, I'm running it backwards, sorry, that is negative. Okay? So now I have the Cartesian coordinate system that starts with 0 is wrong, the way they're doing it. The way I do it is I take the 0 and I put it in the center of the donut. And then I show that pi is not an endless non-repeating decimal. I show that pi, you cannot bisect a circle, because at the center of a circle is always going to be a hole, but I'm going off on a tangent. So this is positive 7, so of course that's going to be negative 5, opposite positive 4, okay? And you never break that binary flip-flop rhythm. But now that I have a positive 1, negative 2, there also has to exist a negative 1, positive 2. And that will be shown in toroid maps. So this was all just a prelude and a foundation to get to the donut, and how the center of the donut is a hole, and how you can't ever go through the hole. That's the trick. The hole is defined as an aperture. Everything defines it by going around the lip of the hole, but nothing can go through the hole, okay? Or you would have log jam. And this whole thing is a thermal heat system to dissipate heat, okay, to maintain a constant temperature to sustain itself. So what I'm saying to conclude, I no longer have 9 numbers now, because I've added positive and negative. I now have 18 numbers. So I just doubled the amount of information. And then what I'm saying is, when we look at the torus, we're going to see not one coordinate system, we're going to see a dual coordinate system, okay? And they're not going to have start from 0 in the coordinate system, but they're all going to be wrapped around and deflected and offset by 0. If you had a circle, which this is, and you had 360 degrees, you can't put 0 and then 1. You've added a degree. You go straight to 1 in a circle. But I found where the hole is in the donut, in the torus, okay, where the 0 is. And I found how it works. And you're going to see that because it impacts and affects this x, y, z, w non-Cartesian coordinate system of the donut of the torus, okay? And everything is acknowledging, every number is focused on the axis. Everything's aware of where it originated from. It's literally a mirror. And but I haven't gotten to the toruses, so I'm not giving them out yet. I'm going to be showing that, that numbers in a torus, I'm not handing them out yet, because I'll stay in order, are all facets. All these numbers are facets. They're little mirrors. You go to the beach, you sit at the sand, you have the moon, you look out it's a windy night, you see the little eddies and the waves, and they all look like lanterns, a sea of 70,000 lanterns, because every one of those facets of those waves are reflecting the light from the moon, okay? Numbers are all facets. They're all tiles, diamond quantum tiles, that are reflecting only one source. Everything is acknowledging its creator, okay, its origin. And so I was able to piece numbers together like a mosaic, a jigsaw puzzle. People do it all day. They do it with jigsaw puzzles, they make an image and stuff like that, but nobody ever did it as a new energy source, okay, or as a form of worship. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this. I hit close. So it snowballs. It's going to get really hard. Maybe easy. So that was only module 1. And I would not have gone that deep, but I'm glad I did. I would have, because it really takes that. So what's module 2?
You want to take a break now? Let's take a break?
Sure.
A couple minutes, yeah?
Sure.
Thank you, Mark.
If anyone needs a men's room, there is a key. It's on the 5-spotter. Code for the ladies' room is $37.95 or $2.10. 3 and 7 is $10.91.
Is it mine?
I don't know. It was in staff order.
I think it's Lisa's.
Yeah.
I'm Marko.
Thanks for weeping. You just have to knock it over again.